What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, boys and girls. Episode 39 of the Sicko Sports Podcast. It is Friday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. It is the morning of Christmas Eve. For my Hispanics out there, this is the day that we celebrate. It's the day we get together. I know some people do it on Christmas Day. I never understood that. It's always been so much fun to me. Like the tradition, especially if you're in a Mexican or Hispanic household. You know the tradition, Christmas Eve, you get together with the family, you have the party, you have the dinner, you have the food, all that good stuff. And then Christmas Day is more so just the immediate family, right? The kids and the parents. You finish opening up those big presents on Christmas Day when you wake up in the morning. But Christmas Eve is the party, man. That's the celebration. And I'm excited for tonight. We're going to have a good time, spend some time with some family, and then, Friday morning, tomorrow morning, wake up, come downstairs, hang out with the little one. He's going to open up all his presents, all his toys. Can't wait to see his reaction, his face. But I am pumped, man. Christmas is here, guys. Christmas Eve is already here. I hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas. But let's get into it. First and foremost, the Pro Bowl votes have came out. We get to see who made the Pro Bowl. Just want to go through everybody. Of course, that's going to be extremely boring. You'll fall asleep on me if I go through everybody who made the Pro Bowl. But two things that I wanted to point out in the Pro Bowl votes. Number one, James Conner, running back, Arizona, makes the Pro Bowl. Now, I don't want to hate on people that made the Pro Bowl, right? If you made the Pro Bowl, I'm not saying that you're not deserving of it, but James Conner is currently 20th in the league in rushing yards. 20th. There are so many guys out there that still have more of a likelihood. Now, I know he has a lot of touchdowns, right? I know James Conner, it's more about touchdowns for him, but it's like, all right, you're there to finish off the drive. But when Chase Edmonds is healthy, he's the one that's the premier back. He's the one that gets the majority of the carries, especially outside of the red zone. Kyler Murray, D-Hop, these guys are the reason why they're getting into the red zone. And then James Conner just kind of puts a cherry on top to be a cherry on top kind of finisher, to get a Pro Bowl vote over some of these other guys who are deserving. I mean, the Eagles have two guys. The Eagles running back and quarterback both have more rushing yards than James Conner. The list goes on and on. Like I said, 20th in the league in rushing, and you make the Pro Bowl. So good on to James Conner. He gets the bonus. It's just, once again, man, you just see these weird things in the Pro Bowl voting where you're just like, you got to remember, everyone's like, oh, the Pro Bowl doesn't really matter too much. It's more about the All-Pro list, right? You want to be All-Pro more than you want to be Pro Bowl, for sure, right? Because that tells you like who's really the best players in the league. The Pro Bowl is more of a voting thing. But these guys get incentive bonuses. They get bonuses for making it to the Pro Bowl, so it's important. It matters. They take it seriously. You saw the Colts on their Hard Knocks episode where they take the time to do the Pro Bowl voting, and they're all sitting together, and they're sitting there like, oh, what about Myles Garrett? Okay, what about this dude? Hey, who's been good here? And they just keep throwing out names. They're like, oh yeah, this guy, no, you can't put him over this guy. Like, they take it seriously. So to see somebody like James Conner get the nod, I mean, there's so many backs out there. Again, 20th in the league in rushing yards, but good on James Conner. And then another shocking one to me was Josh Allen not getting in on the AFC side and Lamar Jackson getting in on that side of it. I mean, Lamar Jackson's missed games. He's been hurt. And even when he hasn't been hurt, man, he hasn't been great this year. Just definitely a down year in terms of Lamar's Jackson standards. So to see him get the Pro Bowl nod over Josh Allen, again, another one of those situations where you're like, God, man, I don't know what we're looking at. I really don't. So a couple snubs there for Josh Allen. Snubs on the NFC side when it comes to running backs. Now, there hasn't been a running back that's been great. I will say that for James Conner. It's not like he has great competition. A lot of the guys that, should have been in, or at least a lot of guys that have been great, have been injured, have been in and out of the lineup, haven't been good recently. I mean, even Ezekiel Elliott has over 200 more yards rushing than James Conner. So it's just one of those weird situations, but good on James Conner for making it in. Don't want to hate on him too much. It was just kind of a weird situation to see who's in and who's out depending on their play, because that's what I thought we were going off of. And then last night, if you guys didn't get a chance to see Niners at Titans, the Niners went to Tennessee, and it was a really good game, and I said this was a playoff type of atmosphere, and it felt like that. Even despite it being a Thursday night game, which, man, I just don't, it's just something weird about a Thursday night game. Like, even Sunday night games, you get a different, like, that's a real playoff atmosphere. Even when it's teams that you don't even care about, that ends up being like a real playoff atmosphere. Monday night games is just synonymous, like, Monday night football, you know what to expect, like, it has a better feel. Thursday night games, no matter what, like, even a big matchup where you have two teams who are on the same, very similar records. Tennessee has is one game ahead of the 49ers in terms of their record wise, but two teams that are right in the same spot, right? The Niners are kind of increasing. They're starting to get some wins, starting to get some big wins. Here we go. They look like there might be a lock at that wild card spot. And the Titans, a team that was number one in the AFC at one point, loses all their players. They're depleted across their roster. And now they start losing a couple games. And it's like, oh, man, one team's coming up, one team's going down. But two playoff teams, anytime you have an NFC and an AFC playoff team matchup, it really has a different feel to it. But there's something about Thursday nights where it just doesn't have the same feel. It's just quite different than a Sunday night or Monday night game. But even with that said, still a huge game. I talked about the importance of this game for Tennessee, even more so than San Francisco. It's a super important game for both teams. San Francisco's not out of the weeds yet. You know what I mean? They're still trying to keep their head above water. They're not there yet. There's still a possibility that they can not make the playoffs. But I talked about, the importance for the Titans and just there's no way they could have dropped this game. You can't go on a losing streak right now going into the playoffs. You need a big win, and the Niners were the perfect team to get that win against. And they started off, it looked like the Niners were about to dominate this game. Like, it really looked like the Niners were about to blow this thing out of the water. As soon as the game started, very first opening drive for the Niners, boom, 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 like nothing, touchdown 7-0. I'm like, all right, well, that was pretty impressive. Tennessee gets the ball back, does nothing, 3 and out. Niners get the ball back, boom, 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 boom. Looks like they're about to score another touchdown. I was like, oh, it's gonna be 14-0. It's gonna be a quick night for the Titans. They're in for a long, long night, and they're in some trouble now. But they get into the red zone. And once again, Jimmy G, interception in the end zone, had an opportunity to go up 14-0, 10-0 at the very least. Titans don't do anything with it, right? They don't score. It's still 7-0. The Niners come back, kick a field goal, go up 10-0. But it's one of those situations where it's like, damn, this could have been 17-0. At the very least, this could have been 13-0, and it's kind of a different ball game. And then the Titans start coming back, put together some nice drives. And then once again, the Titans make it a game. They make it a game again. They are right in position. They score. The Niners get the ball back. And after the Titans score, the very first play from the Niners is another Jimmy G interception. Titans end up taking it to the house. And they ended up, not taking the interception to the house. They get the ball inside the 20 and they score. And that's the thing, is not every interception, granted, there are still chances for them to win at the end of the game. Right, Jimmy G still threw a touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel at the end of the game to tie it. So it's not like, I don't want to put too much emphasis. There's still opportunities for the Niners to win that game, but not every interception is equal. Like, some interceptions are very little importance to the game, and some interceptions are just detrimental to the game. So even though Jimmy G threw for 300-something yards, the 2 interceptions that he had were just so costly. There's 2 spots where you don't want to turn the ball over. You don't want to turn the ball over when you have guaranteed points, when you're in field goal range. You can't have a turnover there. And you can't turn the ball over that gives them guaranteed points. Backed up inside your own 20, inside your own 30, where if you turn the ball over here, that's an automatic field goal for the other team at the least. You can't turn the ball over in those 2 spots. And unfortunately, those were the 2 spots that Jimmy G turned the ball over in. And it cost him, man. It cost him big time. Even Deebo, at the end of the game, we saw a matchup between 2 of the league's best receivers and 2 guys who I think are changing the game of how we look at receivers, right? It's no more just lanky and all about speed and all about, it's really that physicality at that wide receiver position. It's something that we didn't really hear too much back in the past with the Randy Mosses and these guys. But these 2 guys in A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel, you see them, they are just so physical at the point of attack. They're so physical with the ball in their hand or when the ball's in the air. 2 different guys, obviously built a little bit differently. They're used a little bit differently, but we saw a complete takeover from 2 of the best receivers in the league. A.J. Brown starts going bananas. There was a play call. It was a 3rd and 18, somewhere around there, and I'm thinking, all right, the Titans, they're going to have to punt this ball. It's not a good look for them. And they get, I mean, on 3rd and 18, why the hell are you jumping? Right? It's a 3rd and 18 call. Ryan Tannehill gets into a hard count, gets the Niners to jump. So now they have a free play on 3rd and 18. And then it's just a one-on-one jump ball to A.J. Brown. He mosses a rookie corner over there on the right-hand side, brings it down. They end up scoring on that drive and pushing the game a little bit further. But again, 3rd and 18, you're jumping off sides. It's just, it'll drive a coach absolutely insane. And then even Deebo Samuel comes right back. He has a game-tying touchdown on a big play, or gets them into game-tying touchdown situation. It was Brandon Ayuk that ends up scoring the touchdown, but a huge, big gain for Deebo Samuel, almost takes it to the house. It's like a 60-yard reception for him. So 2 of the league's premier receivers taking over in that game. And for Deebo, man, he's one of my favorite wide receivers. Like, he's got to be he's probably one of my favorite players in the NFL. Just the way they use him, it kind of makes me wonder, like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Steve Smith, right? If you remember Steve Smith from the Panthers, kind of reminds me a little bit of him, just a little bit bigger. Like, if Steve Smith was 20 pounds heavier, I'd be very interested to see, like, Steve Smith in the same role that Deebo was in. That handoffs, like, they hand the ball off to Deebo in an I formation. They will hand it to him up the middle in between tackles. And when you see Deebo, 3rd-and-1s, 4th-and-1s, it's Deebo Samuel that gets the carries. He's their power back. He's the most physical runner they have on the team. And the 49ers have a lot of those dudes, right? You have George Kittle, who gets a lot of screen passes, a lot of stuff to the outside. And then you have Kyle Juszczyk, who they'll split out motion and use him as a traditional tight end, run him on slants. They had him on a go route earlier in the game, and he just broke in coverage. They had him on kind of like a switch route where he's kind of running a wheel route from the slot position, and you have somebody else taking a post route. The corner messed up, took the post route. Byard it was a cover 3. Byard was inside on the flat. Obviously, he didn't carry Juszczyk up the field. He released him, but it ended up being a free release because the corner comes over the middle, and they end up having Kyle Juszczyk wide open, and Jimmy G just misses the throw, which was kind of, a sign for how that game was going. But he misses them there. But that's how they just have these kind of pieces that they use in different scenarios. So even when they have 11 personnel, 12 personnel, whatever their personnel is, 21 personnel, you don't know what it is, right? They can put out a 21 personnel with Kyle Juszczyk and Deebo Samuel as their fullback and running back, and you have no idea what it is. It looks like a 21 personnel, right? Because they're lined up in I formation, but as soon as they swing somebody out, it's really empty. Like, it's really an empty set, because now Juszczyk motions out as a tight end. Deebo Samuel's your running back. So you're kind of, all right, when they line up in that formation, when they come out with Juszczyk and Deebo, do we run a base defense? Do we trust a wide receiver to be matched up one-on-one from the backfield with Deebo? Do we trust another linebacker to be one-on-one with Kyle Juszczyk when he motions out as a tight end? Or do we go with a nickel, right? Do we go with some type of sub package, and all of a sudden Kyle Juszczyk is putting a hit on our safety, and or Kyle Juszczyk's blocking our tight end, and Deebo Samuel's one-on-one with a safety, and he's, again, their most physical, most violent runner of the football. So they get into some really interesting things, man. The stuff that Shanahan does, again, people were talking earlier in the year about Shanahan and whether or not he'll be able to, whether he should keep his job or not. This is when they were losing games. And I knew he'd bounce back. As long as that team stays healthy, man, Shanahan will have them in position to make the playoffs and be a team that can contend. Because he's just so, like, these moving pieces, the way he finds ways to make guys effective is just, it's second to none. But ultimately, Titans end up winning that game-winning field goal. A game that was really just big momentum swings, man. Niners, like I said earlier, look like they're about to blow it out. Titans, all momentum swings back in their favor. They not only tie it up, take the lead, and then all of a sudden, the Niners come storming back. They end up making big plays. They end up tying the game up, and then the Titans ultimately get the ball last. Beautiful drive put together. A.J. Brown, again, just an absolute monster. Gets them in the field goal range. Kick a game-winning field goal. So huge win for the Titans. They move to 10 wins. The 49ers now at 8-7. It's still going to be a tough road for the Niners, man. They still need to get another. They got to finish off the season strong. Luckily for them, again, teams like the Saints, teams like Washington, teams like the Eagles, those are the guys those are the ones that are still in the hunt, and I just don't see those guys being able to go on a run. I think the Niners are safe. That's why I said this was a much bigger game for Tennessee than it was the 49ers. And maybe that played into it a little bit, but ultimately, huge game for the Titans. And then, that leaves the question is like, how confident are you in any other team? Everyone keeps talking about like what teams need to work on. Everybody needs to work on something going into the playoffs. I heard people talking about the 49ers and they're going to be a tough matchup and they're scary. And then all of a sudden they end up losing to Tennessee, a team who's depleted. And then for Tennessee, it's like how you can't be not worried about Tennessee, especially if they have Julio Jones and A.J. Brown out there. Their running game, yeah, it's not the same without Derrick Henry, but they can still run the football. The Tennessee Titans are a perfect example that it's not a running back that makes you a good running game. Yes, a great running back on top of a running team is Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans, where you can make your offense based off of that. But it's a good example that it doesn't take Derrick Henry. It's not just Derrick Henry. This is a team with a philosophy that they're going to run the football. And that's what you need. You need a buy-in. Your offensive line needs to know they're going to be physical. They didn't run the ball poorly in this game either. They had some good runs. When they got the interception, Garoppolo's second interception in the game, they started off at the 19-yard line, and they had 19 rushing yards into the end zone. They didn't complete a pass on that drive. It was 19 yards of rushing into the end zone. They can still run the ball. And they did it with a third-string left tackle and a backup left guard. It's just a mindset. It's a mindset and it's a commitment and an understanding of what the scheme is. What is our running scheme? How do we run the football? And understanding that we are physical above anything else. These other teams that have trouble running the balls because there's no commitment to run, right? You're not committing in the game plan. And you're not committing in practice. You're not committing in philosophy. So how do you want your offensive linemen to commit when it's time to run? You look at the Indianapolis Colts, they're running the ball better than anyone right now because there's a commitment. They're selling merchandise about running the damn ball. It's a commitment to run the football. That's what you need, and that's what the Titans still have. So if they have a healthy A.J. Brown, they have a healthy Julio Jones, all they need is Ryan Tannehill to be good enough, which is what he was in this game. Good enough. Was he phenomenal? No, but he's good enough. And then you see him late in the game to put them into field goal range. He busted off a huge run. Something that you kind of forget Ryan Tannehill can do very well, just take off and run with the football. It was, I think, like a second and long or third and something. And he ends up busting off like an 18, 19-yard run. Puts them into field goal range. They got some more yards after that and had a little bit of an easier field goal, but that put them into field goal range, and they needed it. And that's just kind of, this is kind of how this team has been operating and what they've been doing. So, yeah, you should still be worried about Tennessee. Tennessee's not an easy win for anybody. And on the other side, just because a team's streaky like the Niners were, just because they started to play decent, doesn't mean that they're going to be a great team. How do you have confidence in any? Like, think about the teams right now at the top. How are you confident in them? Tennessee's still up there. Can't be extremely confident in Tennessee. They're often sometimes, that first drive, the first drive of the game for Tennessee, their first offensive series looked pitiful. The first play went for -4 yards. Second play was a sack. The 3rd and 18, they run a draw play, and that's it. That was their 3 and out. When I see some of the Tennessee Titans play calling and their play design, especially when it comes to the passing game, it gets tough, man. If A.J. Brown isn't bailing them out, that offense does not look good. So how do you have confidence in them? How do you have confidence in the Patriots? The Patriots are now giving up back-to-back, or I don't know back-to-back, but multiple 200-plus yard rushing games. Can't have extreme confidence in them. How can you have extreme confidence in a rookie quarterback? Right? It doesn't matter what team you look at. It's hard to build so much confidence in. Tampa Bay, they just got shut out to New Orleans. How much confidence do you have in Green Bay? Yeah, we have confidence in Aaron Rodgers. Yes, we have confidence in Devontae Adams on that offense. But how much confidence do you have in a defense that has now given up back-to-back 30-plus point games? How do you have confidence in the special teams that continues to prove to be one of the worst special teams units in the NFL? Every single team has spots. Every single team has spots where you lose confidence in them. Spots where they have to improve with a very, very short window to improve. There's only 3 weeks left, and they have to improve in these next 3 weeks. Have to. So as long as your team's in the playoffs, man, if you're a fan of any of these teams, as long as they make the playoffs, who the hell knows? There's not a single team that just looks like the bully of the yard. There is no 2007 Patriots this year. There's no team that's just streaking at the right time where they just look so dominant. I mean, maybe the Chiefs. Maybe. But even the Chiefs, I mean, even them, they have issues sometimes on offense. Even then, they still find themselves in situations where they go 2-3 series without scoring. You're like, damn, this isn't the Chiefs offense I know. So it's tough to imagine that anybody should have confidence in anyone going into the playoffs. If you're a winning team and you're getting into the playoffs, you should have confidence. But no one should be overconfident in the fact that they should be a Super Bowl favorite. No one's a Super Bowl favorite right now, in my opinion. And before we get into the weekend's matchup, Saturday and Sundays, before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and jump into some NFL update for you. First and foremost, Ian Rappaport, Washington football team announces that Kyle Allen and safety Cam Curl, linebacker Milo Eifler, and cornerback Kendall Fuller are all officially off the COVID list, and they can all play against the Dallas Cowboys. Kyle Allen isn't too big of a deal because Heineke is available as well, so they'll be closer to full strength. Obviously, still missing their defensive ends, which is a big issue for them. Still tough losses there for Washington football team, but getting back guys like Cam Curl and Kendall Fuller are big time for them, man. Something that you have to look forward to if you're a Washington football team fan. Those are big additions to that defense, Cam Curl and especially Kendall Fuller. With the Cowboys coming in, the Cowboys have been struggling, but you still worry when you have those three receivers that they got. So getting an added bonus and Kendall Fuller back is a big deal for them. Adam Schefter had tweeted, for what it's worth, Saints quarterbacks Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian both tested positive for COVID per league sources. So Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, both out for the Saints. Jameis Winston's obviously still been out. He's out for the season with that ACL. So that leaves Ian Book to take place. He will be their quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Tough blow for New Orleans. Again, they're a team that is right there, right in the mix. They're trying to make it into the playoffs. They still have an opportunity. Luckily for them, they play Monday night against the Miami Dolphins, who are on a 6-game win streak. So really tough matchup for the Saints. A tough blow for them if they have to go in with Ian Book. There's still an option that they can still produce negative tests in place, so it doesn't mean that it's a guarantee that Ian Book plays. If I'm not mistaken, both of those guys are vaccinated. So if they were not vaxxed, then they would automatically be out for 10 days. But because they are vaccinated, they still have an opportunity to test negative and still play in that game. But it's very unlikely that they'll be able to test negative over the next 3 days. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they call Dr. Joe Rogan and get the hookup, man. But so all signs point to Ian Book right now. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. Again, the team that just can't lose. They came off of a huge win against Tampa Bay. So to lose both of their quarterbacks and be stuck with Ian Book, which granted they beat Tampa Bay with scoring 9 points. So, it's not like any of those guys are lighting up the scoreboard anyway. But yeah, so tough Monday night game coming up against the Dolphins. I don't know how Ian Book's going to look, but a big time loss there for them as well. Ian Rappaport tweeted that the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson once again did not practice today, as it appears more likely we see Snoop Huntley again. Okay, I don't gotta call him Snoop Huntley, but so Tyler Huntley is going to probably play for the Ravens again. Another huge game for the Ravens. We'll get into that a little bit later as we break down some of these games. But Lamar Jackson, another game where he might be out. Hopefully that'll swing your bets or your votes one way or another. But tough matchup for Lamar Jackson. And then Rams designated running back Cam Akers for a return. This is from Adam Schefter. More help on the way. A huge addition for the Rams. If they can get back Cam Akers, he is a dog. I don't know if Cam Akers is going to be a shell of himself. I'm assuming that he's not going to come back and just have this crazy burst. But like I said, with 3 games left in the season, this is perfect way to kind of ramp up Cam Akers, get him a little bit of carries, a couple touches here this weekend, and then next game a few more, last game more. If you can get Cam Akers back for the playoffs, even at 80% of what he was before the injury, that would be a huge help to the Rams. Their offense is an offense that is dangerous when they could run the football, man. Sean McVay isn't a guy that wants to come out and throw the ball 40 times a game. He wants to set things up off of the running game. All the motions and wide receivers coming inside and getting, these blocks, being able to take out outside linebackers and safeties down in the box, and the way he uses wide receivers and tight ends on motion blocks, and the way he wants to run the ball and then come off of that with naked bootlegs and all those things that McVay does well. It's important to have a good running back, man. It's important for them to have a good running game. And Cam Akers was supposed to be the guy. Cam Akers is somebody that they had a lot of belief and a lot of faith in. Someone who had a really good rookie season, showed a lot of promise. And, unfortunately, he's been out the whole year. So if they can get Cam Akers back right now, this would be huge for the Rams, especially a team that has been looking really good lately. And then Ian Rappaport, the Ravens may not have. Okay, we already went over that. But the Vikings won't have Dalvin Cook for COVID-19. Unfortunately, Dalvin is on that COVID list as well. So the Vikings will be without Dalvin Cook in this game. And again, another team that is right. The Vikings need to finish this season off strong. They need to keep racking up some wins. And they got a tough one coming up as well. So let's jump right into these upcoming games. The Browns are headed to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Tough game for the Browns. The Browns are a team right there on the NFC North. Obviously, you have the Ravens, you have the Bengals. All these teams are still, even the Steelers are still alive. So for the Browns to draw the card of the Packers right now, tough for them. But you get Baker Mayfield back. Who knows? Man? The Packers, again, they're going to be tested, right? And Nick Chubb and these boys are going to run the football. For the Green Bay Packers, they've been really good against the run, but that has been their Achilles heel over the years, is can they stop the run? So we're going to see. We're going to see what the Packers got in this game. We're going to see if the Packers can put away another pretty good team. I mean, like I said, if you're 500, if you're above 500 in the NFL, I consider you a good team, man. Something's still in my freaking eye. Something's been in my eye this whole entire time. So if you keep seeing me rub it, I don't know what it is. I can't get it out, and it's freaking annoying. But Browns, Packers are going to be at home. Tough place to play. I don't know what the weather's like. Luckily for Cleveland, you're used to it. It's not going to be too much of an issue. I think these are going to be two teams where you can both just see a nice little running game. I think it might be lower scoring than you expect. I think both teams are going to try to establish that run game on each other. But we'll see how this turns out, man. A tough draw for the Browns when you absolutely need to get some wins right now. I don't see them beating Green Bay. I think Green Bay is just too tough right now. The way that their offense is playing, I don't know who can stop their offense. And if you're the Browns, I'm not a big enough believer in Baker Mayfield and that offense being able to keep pace. But we never know. Justin Fields and the Bears put up 30-something on them. So who knows, man? But really big game there. Another huge game in the desert. Indianapolis Colts take on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona needs this win. This is very different than the Packers-Browns. Like, Arizona has to win this game. Unfortunately for them, they play against a team, the Colts, who are streaking, who a lot of people consider one of the hottest teams in the NFL. The MVP of the league, who should be the MVP of the league, Jonathan Taylor, heads into Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals, who have now lost 2 in a row. They cannot lose 3 games in a row. They cannot. Coming off of a Lions loss, Arizona needs to pick it up and put it together. But this, unfortunately for Arizona, is not a get-right game. Hopefully, if you're an Arizona fan, hopefully they took the Lions lightly. They thought it was a get-right game. They were looking more for the celebration. They were looking forward to the outcome more so than the war, than the effort itself. And that's why they got dog walked by the Lions. And this is a game where they're going to be up. They're going to be excited. They're going to be ready to go. And they can play like they played 5-6 weeks ago, where they were at, 6 weeks ago, where everyone considered them not only by record, but by play style, that they were the best team in the NFL. Hopefully they can get back to it, but unfortunately, again, not a get-right game. This is a playoff caliber game against a Colts team who still need to win. I mean, they're only a few games above 500. They're in the AFC where there's a lot of teams above 500 right now. So they absolutely have to win this game in Arizona. Arizona has to win this game. This right here is a primetime type of game for both teams because it is a must win for both teams moving towards the playoffs. Arizona, obviously, it won't do too much in terms of their ability to make the playoffs because they have already double-digit wins. Even if they lose this game, I still think they'll make the playoffs, but nobody wants to go into the playoffs on a 2-3 game losing streak. They got to get this win. And it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with Jonathan Taylor and that run game, and if they can force Carson Wentz to throw the football. That's everybody's key right now. That's everybody's game plan against the Colts is force Carson to throw. Carson went 5 of 12 with an interception and still won a game last week against the Bill Belichick coach Patriots. Wild. Absolutely wild. Another huge game. Rams, Vikings. I talked about it. No Dalvin Cook against a Rams team who's getting Cam Akers back. Don't expect for Cam Akers. Please don't start him on your fantasy team. Don't expect him to be some type of big weapon for the Rams right now. But if he can get a few carries, if he can, hit the field at least, and then just kind of start getting him over the next couple weeks, get him a little bit more going into the playoffs, I think would be huge for the Rams. For the Vikings, another must-need game. You are right there, man. They had that loss to the Lions. The Lions are just fucking ruining people's seasons. I mean, the Lions are just... How in the world are the Lions 2 wins against Arizona and Minnesota? That doesn't make any sense. But if you're the Vikings, you have to win this game. You can't drop another one. Again, I because of some other teams, but who's to say Philly doesn't rattle, off a few wins? Philly has the Giants, they have the Cowboys, they have divisional games left. Who's to say Philly doesn't rattle off some wins and kind of take that place for the Vikings? Who's to say that the Saints don't somehow still get a win with Ian Book against the Dolphins? Like, who's to say that these things don't happen? Like, you have to put your own destiny in your hands. You have to go ahead and take care of business. You're at home. I know it's against the Rams, but you got to find a way to win. And unfortunately for them, they have to try to find a way to win without Dalvin Cook. The Rams are a very good defense. Aaron Donald and the boys are not easy to play against. For the Vikings, tough game. Tough game. I don't see how they beat the Rams. To be honest, I think the Rams are just playing their best football right now. But we'll be able to tell, right? If the Rams go out there and have a stink bomb and they lose to Minnesota, not to say that losing to Minnesota is embarrassing by any means. It's not, the Detroit Lions. Like, if you lose to Minnesota in Minnesota, that's a tough win. That's a tough win for you regardless. But if they go out there and their offense looks stale and they can't get anything going and it's just Cooper Kupp and Odell still can't find the ball, and, if those things start happening in this game, then you really do have to have a lot of concern. People will be very concerned about the Rams moving forward. But on the flip side, right, because of the league being so damn fickle, on the flip side, if the Rams go into Minnesota and beat the brakes off of them, if they win, 35-14 or something, everyone's going to be on the Rams bandwagon. I promise you, if the Rams go in there and blow Minnesota out, every single person is going to jump on the Los Angeles Rams, especially after that loss that the Bucs had to the Saints, especially with the Packers. Last couple of games, barely beating Huntley and the Ravens, barely beating Justin Fields and the Bears. But it's going to be a big talk. The Rams are definitely going to be one of the favorites. If they're not already, they will definitely be the favorite if they go out there and smack Minnesota at home. Bills, Patriots, another big game. The Bills absolutely must win for the Buffalo Bills. And for the Bills, it's your last chance, man. It's your last chance to not be the little brother. You had a chance earlier in the season. Whatever you want to blame it on. If you want to blame it on the conditions of the weather, cool. If I'm not mistaken, the weather didn't turn off whenever the other team had the ball. The weather didn't turn off whenever the other team was kicking. No, the weather didn't turn off for the Patriots and only turn on for you. So you both played in the same weather. You both played in the same weather and you lost. So I don't want to hear, the weather. Okay, deal with it. The weather sucked. Cool. Did you win or did you lose? You still lost. You still prove that the Patriots, no matter what the conditions, no matter what's going on, the Patriots still found a way to beat you. How long are you going to be the little brother? Are you waiting for the Patriots to get worse? Because they're not going to. You think Mac Jones is going to get worse over the next 10 years? You think he's going to decline? You think this is the best Mac Jones will ever be? You think this is the best the Patriots will ever be? You don't think they'll ever get another receiver? You don't think they'll ever get some offensive weapons to help Mac Jones out, make things easier for him, and make them a more explosive offense? You don't think that'll ever happen? You don't think the defense will stay intact and they'll keep drafting well? You don't think Bill Belichick will somehow find a way to continue to get this team better? If you're the Buffalo Bills, right now is the chance. This is it, man. This is your opportunity to put some damn dominance, go into New England, get a big win. You're supposed to be the better team. Josh Allen, I talked about him being snubbed. Prove why you were snubbed. Prove to everyone why it was a mistake that you didn't make the Pro Bowl. Go into New England and get a fucking win, man. When are the excuses going to stop for the Bills? When are the excuses going to stop for the Buffalo Bills? You're supposed to be the better team. You were a Super Bowl favorite coming into the season. You've been floating above 500 all year long. Get a fucking win. Get a big win. Go into the playoffs. Give your fans something to fucking root for. Put some type of confidence in your team. If you go in New England and get smacked around again, if they run the ball down your throat again, if you cannot run the ball and refuse to even try to run the ball again, how in the world can anyone have confidence in the Buffalo Bills? Make people put some respect on your name. This is your last freaking chance to stop being a little brother. Go into New England, smack them around, get a huge win. Have to have it. Absolutely have to have it. And then a huge matchup in the NFC North. Ravens, Bengals. Obviously, the NFC North is a team or is a division that like nobody really wants to take it. Every single time someone has a chance, they end up fumbling right after. The Bengals have a chance to push themselves ahead, to take the lead of the NFC North, to kind of give themselves a little bit of breathing room, and then they lose to San Francisco in overtime. The Ravens, really aggressive, 2 losses now. They go for 2-point conversions, and they lose both games when they were the team that had a pretty good grasp of the NFC North. Now, all of a sudden, a few losses later and a no Lamar Jackson later. Who the hell knows what's going on with them? Steelers and the Browns are still hanging around. So this is going to be a game for the Ravens and Bengals. I'll put it this way. Whoever wins this game is going to win the division. Plain and simple. Whoever wins this game is going to win the division. And, for the Ravens, how are you going to do without Lamar? Is Huntley looked good against Green Bay. He looked good. And the good thing is you don't have to change your offense too much. The offense doesn't change too much with Huntley than it does with Lamar. Right? Yeah, Lamar's a little more athletic, right? He has more explosiveness. He has the ability to take anything to the house. He has the ability to make something out of nothing a little more than Huntley does. But as far as the play calling and what you want to get into, it doesn't look too different. And for Cincinnati, this is it. You're playing against a hobble team at home. You're at home against a team that doesn't have their starting quarterback. No matter how you look at it, no matter how well Huntley looked in that last game against Green Bay, you're still playing against a backup quarterback, and you will take those odds at home every single day of the week. So for the Bengals, another very similar to the Bills, right? This is your opportunity. How long has Cincinnati been the little brother to Pittsburgh and Baltimore? Now's your chance. This is a divisional winning game, in my opinion. You win this game, you win the division. That needs to be the message to the players. Hey, this game wins us or loses us a division. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I'm expecting the Bengals to come out and be very aggressive. I'm expecting them to come out and be super fired up and to take it to the Ravens, man, especially at home. That crowd's going to be rocking. The crowd knows. The crowd knows that this game is basically for the division. Come out and put a smacking on them. I like the Bengals a lot in this game. I really do. I don't think the Ravens have enough. I think Huntley, as well as he played, unfortunately, like I said, Green Bay's defense just looks a little weird to me. The last couple games, they just haven't been much. Maybe the injuries are starting to pile onto them. Eventually, you get big games from Russell Douglas and big games from some of these other players. But when you're just missing some of your key guys, unfortunately, eventually it catches up to you. Maybe that's what's going on with Green Bay. But the Bengals defense isn't Green Bay's defense. It's going to be a lot harder for Huntley to move the ball around and score. And because of that, I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals big in that game. I like them. I want them to. I really would enjoy if they stake their claim and get a huge win. And speaking of enjoyment, I know I talked about NFC North saying, hey, the Bengals and the Ravens, this would be the game to decide who's going to win that division. The reason I said that is because the Browns obviously play against Green Bay at Green Bay, which is really tough. But also the Steelers are at Kansas City in Arrowhead Stadium, and we know how tough that is. But the one thing I would like more than anything, well, take that back. The one thing I like more than anything is for Dallas to get another win at home against Washington, first and foremost. We'll get to that game next. But the second thing I would love more than anything is for the Steelers to shock it, for Mike Tomlin to take his middle finger, go like this, and then shove it down the throats of everybody else and be able to beat Kansas City in Arrowhead Stadium. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think Kansas City's going to win. I think they're playing good right now. I don't know how Pittsburgh scores on Kansas City. I really don't, especially in that ruckus crowd of Arrowhead. I really don't see how Pittsburgh scores enough points to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. Listen, Patrick Mahomes on a bad day is 17 points, okay? So anything under 20 for Kansas City, everyone goes, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? That's still probably good enough to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, Pittsburgh's offense would be very happy if they scored 24. If they score over 20, they're excited. They're happy. Oh, shit. We might have a chance to make a little run here. When Kansas City scores 20, 24, it's like, that's not really our offense. So I just don't know how Pittsburgh scores enough to beat them, but man, would I love it. Would I love it for my favorite coach in the NFL, Mike Tomlin, to go out there and beat Kansas City and Arrowhead, make the playoffs, win the division somehow. That would be freaking nuts. I'm rooting for Pittsburgh big time. I know my dad isn't going to like that. He's a huge Pittsburgh fan. I mean, a huge Pittsburgh hater. We're Cowboys fans who, like, this my gripe. He hates Pittsburgh. He hates the 49ers because of what they did in the 70s and 80s. I'm like, okay, you do realize that Phillies knocked us out of the playoffs how many times? You do realize that the Giants beat us when we were the number one seed, and that was the year they went and won the Super Bowl? Like, who gives a shit about those teams from the 70s and 80s? Like, last time I checked, Terry Bradshaw's not playing for them. Last time I checked, Joe Montana's not the quarterback for the 49ers. Like, this is a new era, a new day and age. Our rivals, teams we should hate, are always going to be Philly, Washington, and New York. Why you don't care about those teams and you hate Pittsburgh and San Francisco, to me, is so freaking weird because of something that you saw when you were, 19, 20 years old? I wasn't even a thought yet. But a huge win. It would be massive for Mike Tomlin. And I would love that, man. Mike Tomlin is my favorite coach in the league. I love Mike Tomlin. And the fact that people are starting to doubt him and question him is just insane. When he kind of backhanded that reporter, he should have smacked the shit out of that reporter when that reporter was talking about how he was, Mike Tomlin, talking about college and some of these college teams and what are the rumors. He was like, college? He's like, bitch, I've never had a losing season in the NFL. Why would I even think about college? What the fuck is wrong with you? College? You're talking to Mike Tomlin about coaching college football? Get the fuck out of here. I'm glad that Mike Tomlin gave him that exact kind of look like, yeah, he said there's not a big enough check that can get me to coach college football. The NFL's where it's at, and I'm doing pretty fucking good here. And then last but not least, Washington in Dallas. Interested to see if Washington's going to bring their benches, right? It's going to be like 70-something degrees in a dome in Dallas. I don't know why you would bring heated benches to that, but all right, go ahead. So we'll see if they bring their benches or not. Hey, listen, they brought their benches to Philly and got beat, so bring them on in. And let's see what happens. Like I said, two big additions, Cam Curl, Kendall Fuller back for Washington. That's big for that defense. And this is a chance now. This is an opportunity, right? If you're a Cowboy fan, 2 weeks in a row now, right? Against Washington 2 weeks ago, against New York last week. We wanted to see this offense get back on track. We wanted to see this offense get right and look good. Didn't really, right? It did not do that in those two games. This is the chance. This is the opportunity. We have Arizona next week. If we can go home, play great at home, if our offense finally gets it together, another week with Tony Pollard back, another week hopefully where Zeke looks a little bit more like himself. Both of those guys looked pretty good last week against the Giants. Let's see how this week goes against Washington. One interesting thing I took away from the last Washington game is we were actually able to run the ball pretty well. Even with Corey Clement and a banged-up Ezekiel Elliott, we were actually able to run the ball pretty decently. We just, for some reason, didn't want to. Like, we just wanted to throw the ball on them. And I don't know why when you have a depleted D-line. Like, I get it. Hey, Chase Young's out, Sweat's out. We have a better opportunity to throw the ball this game. We don't have those big-time pass rushers. Yeah. But also, we have a good chance to run the ball with all these backup defensive linemen in. Let's try to do that. So interested to see if we get more committed to running the football. And if that opens up some more things for us in the passing game. I really want to see Kellen Moore do a better job. I really want to see him be able to move the football a little bit better in this game. But it is what it is. Hopefully the defense continues to look good. Hopefully we just come out of there with another win. Go to 11 wins on the season and just keep it moving, man. That's what we got to do right now moving forward. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, all you got to do is just keep piling up wins until the playoffs again. Who the hell is extremely confident? I get it. I get it, Cowboys fans. I get it. Yes, we want to see this offensive firepower back. We want to see our offense look like we did 7-8 weeks ago. I get that. Yes, we would feel way more confident heading into the playoffs if we were able to score 30-something, 40 points a game. Yes, for sure. But there's not a team in the league that has extreme confidence. Arizona is very... Arizona, how are you confident in Arizona? How are you confident in Green Bay's defense and their special teams? How are you confident in Tampa Bay's offense right now with all the injuries they're trying to pile up? How are you confident in any of these teams? The goal is keep winning games. Going into the playoffs on a 4-5 win streak, that's what we need to look forward to. We're being too cynical, right? We're just being too critical of, they're not winning the way I want us to win. Okay, let's say we win 35-20. You'd feel more. That's my issue. Is Cowboys fans would be very happy if we were to beat Washington or if we beat New York 35-20. If we won 35-20, we would be happy because it showed that our offense is back and we scored 35 points and our offense is back on track. That's still a 15-point win. We won last game by 15. Who cares if it's 35-20 or 21-6? You know what I mean? It's still the same point differential. We can't focus too much on winning the way we want to win. What we have to focus on is winning. And if we go into the playoffs with a 5-game win streak, how much better can you be? So let's play Washington at home. Let's get this win. However that win comes is fine with me. Let's just get another win. Got Arizona the week after. Let's see what Arizona looks like after this game against the Colts. And then we'll be able to assess what that game means to us and how important that game is, and just keep moving forward one game at a time, man. One game at a time. Dolphins-Saints games on Monday night, so I'll go over that on Monday. Let's take a look at FanDuel's point spreads right now while we're here, so I can give you guys some picks. Nope, not looking at racing. Don't give a shit about racing. Sportsbook, NFL. Let's look at some of these upcoming games. All right. Let me have a quick look, and I'll tell you where we're at. Indy, +1.5 on the road against Arizona. I'm going to be somebody that wants to see it all burn to the ground. I'm going Indy, +1.5. I think Indy goes into Arizona. I think Jonathan Taylor continues his MVP run. They beat Arizona at home. Arizona loses another game heading into Dallas, and it all goes to crap. And Cliff Kingsbury looks like the coach of the year 6 weeks ago to being someone who everyone's going to question whether he is good enough to get this team to the top or not. Kyler Murray goes from being an MVP candidate 6 weeks ago to people wondering if he's good enough as a starting quarterback to get to the top or not. I'm going Indy +1.5. Let me get Indy 24-20 on the road against Arizona. Another game I like, Tampa Bay. I'm going to give you guys 5. Tampa Bay, Carolina. Tampa Bay, 10-point favorites at Carolina. I don't like it. I like Tampa Bay winning. I don't like the 10-point spread. Give me 28-20. Tampa Bay wins, but give me Carolina against the spread. They cover. They do not lose by 10. They lose by 8. Carolina +10 on that one. Next up, we have the... Who else should we go with? Ravens, Bengals. I talked about this game. Ravens are a +3. Bengals 3-point favorites at home. This is a chance. I don't think Huntley looks so good. Again, subject to change. Let me try to get a warning bar down here. Subject to change. If Lamar Jackson plays or not. If Lamar Jackson is a no-go, I do not like Huntley in this game. I think the Cincinnati Bengals present a lot of problems defensively for him. I don't like his ability to do so. I think the Bengals win big. I think they win by more than 3. Give me a 27-13 win for Cincinnati. I think they handle business. I think they take care of it. I think Jamar Chase and Joey B make enough plays in the passing game. I think Joe Mixon helps that out. I think he runs the ball effectively, sets up big shots downfield. Jamar Chase is good for an anytime touchdown. Give me that as well. Cincinnati, like I said, 27-13 at home. They take care of the Bengals. Give me Cincinnati -3. Detroit, Atlanta, not touching that. Jacksonville Jets, don't want to touch that. Buffalo, New England, I talked about that one. Buffalo needs a win. New England needs a win, but Buffalo, your chance, man. I'm going to bet on you. I shouldn't. Everything tells me that Bill Belichick still owns your franchise, but for some freaking reason, I'm going to put money on you, +1.5. Give me the Buffalo Bills on the road, 27-24. Buffalo covers. Buffalo wins on the road. They stop being the little brother. It starts today. Well, not today. It starts this week. This week it starts that you are no longer the little brother of the New England Patriots. Go in there, get the fucking win, and show them that you are the better team. You have the better quarterback. You have the better defense. You have more weapons on the outside. You're the better team. Prove it for once, Buffalo. Give me the Buffalo Bills +1.5. And I don't know how many I said. I said 5. I don't know where I'm at. We'll go Washington, Dallas. Dallas 10-point favorites in that game. Holy shit, that's a lot. Okay, well, Dallas is 10-point favorites. This is a game where I think it's a get-right game for them. 30-17 Dallas over Washington. Give me Dallas -10. Yes, I'm saying it. Yes, I'm jinxing it. Damn it, this game has upset all over it. This is a terrible, terrible game. Why am I picking Dallas -10? I don't know. I think we score enough. I think we score 30. I think we hold them to 17. I don't think anybody gets a one-on-one jump ball catch of the year nomination against Trayvon Diggs this time around. I think they struggle a little bit on offense the same way. You know, I don't know if they can really get the run game going. Dallas' defense continues to look better week after week after week. Our run defense looks good. A little shaky last week against Saquon Barkley and Booker. They did have a few good runs on us, but ultimately, when it comes to just every single run, were they able to just move the ball downfield in the run game? No, they weren't. And we still had multiple interceptions, and I think we'll be able to pick off Heineke again in this game. I think we'll be able to harass Heineke. When you're a quarterback that gets sacked 5 times against one team, that kind of sticks with you. I think he's going to get a little bit of happy feet in there. Not meaning he'll be scared, but I think he's going to be out moving in the pocket. He's going to try to do a little too much. I think he's not going to be able to sit in the pocket the way he wants to or the way they want him to. He's going to look to get out of the pocket a little bit earlier. If the Washington's smart, maybe they move the pocket for him and get things moving on the outside, get him into some easy throws, especially that right side of the football field where Anthony Brown plays. Get some stuff set up there. Move Terry McLaurin from the left to the right so Anthony Brown has to cover him. Why they left him on the left side most of the game, so Trayvon Diggs was on him, I don't know. Like, yeah, I get it. You feel like Terry McLaurin's better than Trayvon Diggs. You feel like Scary Terry is that guy. He's great. He's phenomenal, but why not make it easier for him? If you know by moving him to the right side, it puts Anthony Brown on him, take advantage of it. Take advantage of that guy. But yeah, give me the Dallas Cowboys -10, 30-17 is what I said. 30-17 Dallas over the Washington football team. Those are the picks. Put them in a parlay, make some money, win $1 million because, you know, if you use my parlay, you will. All of them are going to hit. I promise you that. They're all perfect picks. Again, Miami, New Orleans, not going to give my prediction for it. I'm not going to talk about it yet until Monday because it is a Monday night game. We'll be able to get into that. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will see you on Monday. I hope you have a great Christmas, holidays. If you're a Satanist and you hate fun and hate life, happy holidays to you, not a Merry Christmas. But if you're somebody that just enjoys hanging out with the family, opening presents, man, Merry Christmas to you guys. I hope you have a fantastic time. I hope you open up a bunch of cool gifts. I hope you get to spend time with your family. Please don't get drunk and drive. Be safe, be responsible. Everybody wants to make sure that their family members are safe and healthy above all else, but have a great time, man. Leave cookies for that creepy Santa to come down the chimney and eat up. But yeah, that will be it. I will see you guys Monday, 6 p.m. Central. As always, I ain't missing shit. Follow me on Twitter at Sicko Sports. As always, please, if you want to listen to this audio only, Spotify, any place that you get your podcast, it is audio only on there as well. But you guys be easy, man. Love you. Merry Christmas. Love everyone around you. Peace.